Today on Sports Central, we're going over 5 reasons why the Florida Gators will go on to beating Alabama and why they're going to win the SEC championship game here in a few days. And this has been quite a season for Florida up to this point. Obviously, they're 8-2 heading into this matchup. They did take a loss to LSU this past week, but this is still a team that I definitely think is very capable of winning an SEC championship this season. We're going to go over 5 reasons here today as to why that's going to happen for Florida, and these reasons will be in no particular order. That being said, we're going to be looking at your first reason that no doubt is going to be Kyle Trask. He's definitely a top 3 quarterback in the nation right now. I mean, if you look at Kyle Trask's stats, I mean, his stats pretty much speak for themselves. I mean, he's put up 3,700 yards on the season, 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and he's got a 70% completion rate, which, I mean, for those of you who aren't very familiar with stats, a 70% completion rate is absolutely outstanding. I mean, those are some very, very impressive stats out of Kyle Trask. I mean, his touchdown to interception ratio is all very good, 40-5. That is extremely impressive. And really for Kyle Trask, I mean, he's still got a couple of games to raise those stats. So I could easily see Kyle Trask hitting that 4,000 mark or maybe even past. I mean, Kyle Trask is definitely playing the best that he's ever played over the past few weeks. I mean, Kyle Trask this season has really, and I mean, I talked about this guy in the offseason if you guys were around for that. I mean, Kyle Trask, this guy was so underrated heading into 2020. No one was really talking about him. And he is absolutely surprised everyone. But I mean, Kyle Trask, I mean, if you look at how he did last season, coming into a situation where he was a backup quarterback at the beginning of the season in 2019, I mean, Kyle Trask, ever since that day, has just kept getting better and better each day. And this season has been a perfect example of that. And I mean, speaking of which, he leads the SEC in passing touchdowns, pass completions, and pass yards. I mean, this is a guy that is leading Mac Jones, especially in all 3 of those areas right now. So Kyle Trask, yeah, this is a guy that is extremely talented. And if Florida did win the SEC championship, I think he would be a huge reason why. Number 2 is going to be the defensive line for Florida. Of course, they got Slayton, who's expected to be a very early round draft pick. Like, there's a chance that he will be a first-round draft pick coming up next spring. So you got to watch out for that. But I mean, he's not the only player that's extremely great on this defensive line. I mean, this defensive line as a whole has been very, very good this season. And that's something you got to really watch out for here because, I mean, if you look at this Florida defensive line, they got Brandon Cox, of course, who's been playing very well. You got Zachary Carter as well. So this team has been playing very well on the defensive line, and this is a team that you got to really watch out for, especially when they're healthy on the defensive line. So, I mean, this is a big reason why. I mean, if you look at Florida's defensive line, that's also a reason why the rush defense has been so good this season is because of their defensive line. There's no doubt on that either. I mean, for Najee Harris on the Alabama side in this matchup, it's going to be a lot tougher for him going up against a Florida defense that's hardly allowed a high number of yards per game on the rushing side. So, I mean, yeah, Florida's a very good team as far as it goes on the defensive line, and that's going to be huge for them coming into this matchup. Number 3 is going to be KADARIUS TONEY on the wide receiver core. Of course, he's very underrated as well, I think, right now. I mean, this has been the one season where he's been very putting up some great stats. I mean, he's been the best receiver on the Florida side this season, putting up nearly 1,000 yards of total offense with 10 touchdowns. So he has had a great season, and no one's really talking about him as much as definitely people should be. I mean, Kyle Trask has been using him a ton, and he's been doing very well. He's a very reliable wide receiver, and that's a great thing for Kyle Trask heading into this matchup, especially going up against a great Alabama defense. I mean, I think we can all agree that Alabama's defense is one of the best in the nation. So for KADARIUS TONEY to be able to be on this Florida team, this is going to be huge moving forward. And he's definitely had the best season he's ever had. I mean, last season he only put up like 200 yards of offense, and this season has been a totally different story. This guy's improved a ton, and that is something that a lot of people are going to have to watch out for heading into this matchup because, I mean, once again, when you got an improved wide receiver like Toney has been, I mean, it's a little bit scary there. Number 4 is going to be Kyle Pitts, and you can't forget about him if you're talking about the receiving core. I mean, this guy is definitely going to be a first-round draft pick, possibly even a top 10 draft pick in this upcoming draft. I mean, I've seen some mock drafts where they got Kyle Pitts at number 5 at the top. So, I mean, yeah, Kyle Pitts is definitely going to be an early round draft pick coming up. Only problem for him right now is that I don't think he participated in that LSU game last week. He's been a little bit beaten up, he's been a little bit injured. But I think Kyle Pitts definitely, if he's healthy, I mean, he's going to be a huge impact on this Florida offense. And that was kind of why Kyle Trask did struggle a little bit in that LSU matchup this past week, was because he did not have Kyle Pitts to look for. So, I mean, yeah, watch out for him in this matchup. If he's going to be healthy and if he can play in this matchup, that's going to be huge for Florida moving forward. I mean, this is, once again, a guy that's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick next spring. So, yeah, I mean, as much as you can use him, you got to definitely use him. But for the 2020 stats here, yeah, you got 641 yards, 11 touchdowns on the year, which all around is really good, especially considering he's missed a couple of games. Lastly, number 5 is going to be the potential on this Florida team. And you may say, oh, Florida's a 2-loss team. They got no chance to compete with Alabama. And to that, I say that's completely wrong. I mean, this team has proven that they're capable of winning big games. Like, they've won some big ones down the stretch. Like, I mean, this opportunity would not even be possible if they didn't beat Georgia a few weeks back. And let me say also, they convincingly beat Georgia a few weeks back. If you look back to that day, I mean, Florida really never even kept Georgia close. Like, Georgia was close at the start, but Florida in the second half completely pulled away. And in the end, that game wasn't even really that close. So for Florida, this is a team that has won some big games this season. And even though they did take a couple of losses down the stretch to LSU and Texas A&M, both of those games were still very, very close. And I think Florida, I mean, they are that close. Like, they're 6 points away because they lost to Texas A&M by, I think, 3 points. And then they also lost to LSU by however many points. This is a team that is that close to being undefeated right now. And this is a team that I think Alabama really does not want to be sleeping on heading into this match, because even though they're a 2-loss team, this is still a team that is easily, I think, a top 10, top 11 team in the nation right now. I mean, this team has got so much talent. They've got so much potential moving forward. I mean, Kyle Trask, I still think he's a quarterback that still's got a lot of potential, like a lot of upside in him. I mean, he's a quarterback that has improved a ton as the season's gone on, and really, I mean, the sky's the limit for him right now. And of course, down the stretch, I mean, once again, Florida's blown out some great teams. Like, if you look at the schedule for Florida this past season, like, they blew out Missouri a few weeks ago, which Missouri, of course, was just ranked this past week. I mean, yeah, Florida's been a team that has been very consistent all season long, even though they've taken a couple of tough losses. But, I mean, they blew out Kentucky, they blew out Vanderbilt, blew out Arkansas, which Arkansas's been halfway decent this season. I mean, yeah, this team is very good, and this is a team that I definitely think is capable of possibly taking down Alabama, which Alabama's been obviously the huge dynasty of this 2020 season so far. So, all around for Florida, this is a team that's definitely got to have a quick start, though. That's the thing for Florida here, is if Florida gets off to a slow start and they get down a couple of touchdowns, say within the first 5 minutes, I mean, Florida, that's not going to be a good situation to be in. This is a team that's going to have to really come out of the gate and have a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter if they want to keep up with Alabama right now. Because Alabama, let me say, that's a team that is very, very good, and I think Alabama is definitely capable of winning yet another SEC championship as well. But Florida, yeah, Florida's got to just keep that game. They got to keep that game under control, especially through the second half, because I think Florida, once again, is very capable of winning the game. It's just a matter of how they start and how they play consistently in general. But in the end, there are some of my 5 reasons why Florida will win the SEC championship. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Florida. I'll have my prediction for this game up in just a couple of days, or maybe even in a day or so. We'll have to see what happens there. But then again, I appreciate you guys all watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it, subscribe as well if you're not already yet, as it really helps the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Once again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I'll catch you on the next one.